This is the entertainment and culture. It is all about fun and life and the power that we have to make change happen. Am I right, Samuel? You good? Okay. Good morning, everyone. Bon dia. Okay. It's good to see everybody. Welcome to Climate Medicine, where we are focusing on climate health professionals of the future. We want to thank everyone for joining us this morning as we have some incredibly important information to share, the partnerships that have been developed, the new sets of actions that are going on, and how we can stand in solidarity to make sure that we address the climate crisis, but moving just not to addressing the climate crisis, but actually helping to heal our world. Is that all right with everyone? Absolutely. All right. I would be remiss if I stood in front of you and did not bring my mother and my grandmother into our conversations, which I have done all across the planet. They are the rocks that I stand on. Let me see by a show of hands. Raise your right hand if you love your mother or your grandmother. Just raise your hand. Everybody look around the room, find that person who does not love their mother or their grandmother. Just give them a hug. So we know they got some things that are going. My mother and my grandmother shared with me also that you're going to have some tough days. Has anybody in the room ever had a tough day? Raise your left hand if you've ever had a tough day. That's normal. There's only one person never had a tough day. We need to make sure that we're standing close to them because evidently they got some amazing things going on. And I want to also honor all of our ancestors who are here with us, who stand with us, who walk with us, who lift us up. And hopefully they check us also when we begin to move off of the path that we are supposed to follow. You know, it's interesting that when we talk about the climate crisis, often vulnerable communities are not at the forefront of the conversation, even though at COP28, we are changing that dynamic. You know, we understand and we've heard many of the leaders who are here today finally begin to embrace the fact that we've got 7 million folks who are disproportionately losing their lives. I'd like for you all to do something with me because I want to put things in perspective in the short amount of time that I have with you. And for everybody who's coming in, please take a seat and welcome to the family circle. I want everybody to just take a deep breath. Take that deep breath in. Hold it for a moment and let it out. Now, for all the medical professionals and some other folks, we understand that is an autonomic response. It's something that we do every day. For the average person, around 20,000 times a day. But in certain communities, that can be a deadly breath that we are taking in. The World Health Organization shared last year in their study that 99% of people now on planet Earth are breathing in toxic air in varying levels. And of course, when we get to our most vulnerable communities, we know that those communities are the ones that are truly being, unfortunately, disproportionately impacted. We also know that those toxic breaths that we take in have all kinds of impacts inside of our communities and health impacts that are happening. Everything from 1 million stillbirths that are happening across our planet to the asthmas. By a show of hands, how many folks know somebody who has asthma? So we know that studies, even though they are not completely as comprehensive as we would like, we've got 300 million folks across our planet who are suffering from asthma. In the United States of America, we know that we've got 24 million people who are suffering from asthma, 7 million kids, and disproportionately as African-American and Latinx communities who are the ones who are going to the emergency rooms and who are seeing many of the docs who are here. And unfortunately, the ones that are losing their lives. When we talk about toxic air, we're talking about places like Cancer Alley in Louisiana, where you have these cancer clusters that are going on. These are all not just tragedies, but there are also opportunities for us to make real change happen, for us to get focused and to zero in on the needs that exist. And we understand that the climate crisis will exacerbate the sets of things that are going on. So when we see folks talking about making sure that we're breaking our addiction to fossil fuels, making sure that we are moving through a just transition, we are addressing both those public health impacts that are happening in Black and brown and indigenous and lower wealth communities, and also that are driving the climate crisis. By a show of hands, how many folks had a drink of water or a beverage in the last 24 hours? I want to find the folks who need to be hydrated. So we know we've got 2 billion folks across our planet right now who are dealing with unsafe drinking water. And we also know that half of the folks who are on our planet are dealing with situations where they're dealing with unsanitary conditions, lack of infrastructure that's in those places. These are opportunities for us to make change happen. We also understand that there are going to be the additional public health impacts that are going to happen. And we also know that we have to make sure that the infrastructure is there. We got 10 million additional healthcare workers that are needed based upon national, international studies. These are all opportunities for us to zero in on the policy that's there, to have the conversations inside of our respective organizations, and to also understand the value added that healthcare practitioners bring to addressing the climate crisis. Does that make sense to everyone? And there's all kinds of amazing folks. There are young folks, there are artists and entertainers who often call themselves artivists, and it's true because they are raising their voices. They're partnering with folks like us and others to be able to make sure that the message is going out there. You, as climate health professionals, are one of the trusted voices that still exist in our discourse. And that's another reason that you are so needed. So I want to share with you all something that I wrote, if I can get my computer to come back up. And I thought that it would make sense for me to do something in relationship to healing, since that is why I'm going to assume the vast majority of folks moved into the medical field. So with that being said, this is called healing. I have not memorized it yet because I just wrote it. So here we go. In the hush of forest whispers, where the green veils thin, we tread hearts heavy in the wake of our sin. The earth, she quivers under concrete's cold weight, crying rivers, her tears from her oceans of fate. We've torn the sacred, disrupted the flow. In our quest for more, we've neglected to know that in healing our bond with Mother Earth's grace lies the path to redemption, our saving embrace. With hands in the soil, we feel her pulse, understanding at last our integral role. To nurture her roots is to heal our own. In the cradle of nature, true kinship is shown. Heal the people from the near and for the far, unraveling wounds both visible and mar. In each other's stories, our own we see, connected in suffering and longing to be free. Spirit calls in the wind and the wild, in the eyes of the newborn and the heart of the child. It whispers of unity, of forgotten ties, of the strength in our bond under vast open skies. Mind, like a river, can cleanse or can drown in thoughts that uplift or ones that pull down. To heal, it is to navigate with care, finding balance in chaos, hope and despair. The body, a temple, a beacon of light, yet so often we fill it with turmoil and strife. To heal is our honor, this vessel so dear, with kindness, with love, with respect that's sincere. Our systems, like webs, intricately spun, reflect that we value, show what we've done. To mend them is to redraw the lines, where justice and equity brightly shines. We're threads in a tapestry, vast and diverse, our fates intertwined, for the better or worse. In balance, we find a harmonious song, where every note matters, where all belong. Through fire, we're tempered, through water, we're cleansed, and elements embrace, our fractures we mend. Each of us healers, if we choose to be. In our actions, our words, the change which we wish to see. So let us step forward in light and in love, with courage and hope and visions thereof. For in healing ourselves and the world we hold dear, lies the promise of dawn, brighter and clear. That's healing. So we're going to transition, but I'm going to leave you with a couple of words. The first one is from my grandmother. She often says that when you know better, do better. Y'all join me in that. When you know better, Lord, y'all got a lot to do. I can tell there's not climate activists in this room. Let's try it again. When you know better, do better. When you know better, do better. One last time. When you know better, do better. So we're going to take the knowledge that we have, the partnerships that we've built, and we're going to move forward on doing better, making sure that everyone's voice is included in the process. And we're going to make sure that the resources go to the unseen and unheard, and that we truly can be transformative. As I close, I will leave you with the words of Dr. Martin Luther King when he said that we come to these shores in different ships, but we're all in the same boat now. So when we look at this climate crisis, we have an opportunity to move toward a North Star, toward justice and equality, or we can continue to allow the current to take us in a direction that would be different. I'm Dr. Mustafa Santiago Ali. I want to thank you all for a couple minutes of your time. And we are now going to transition to the next person who's going to lead us in storytelling, I believe. Let's give them a round of applause as they come forward.